happiness pregnancy possible. Cradle to Crayon on Sunny 88.7 from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.
The Cradle-to-Crayon Show with Abby. Fridays 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sunny 88.7 FM.
It's a blessed Friday morning, the third day already in the month of February. We bless God Almighty for the gifts of life. My name is Abby and welcome to the Cradle-to-Crayon show right here on Sunny 88.7 FM. We are live across the world on www.sunnyfmch.com. Very much interactive as we do every time. We open up phone lines later on in the show. You can also share questions, experience, whatever it is. My guest is here to answer. Don't forget, she has made possible probably by Secure Pills. With Secure Pills, you decide. Now, one of the second most common cancers amongst women is known to be cervical cancer. But then cervical cancer is known to kill more women than breast cancer does. In the past month, which is in January, a lot of awareness was created. Medical centers, women fertility centers were screening women, all towards reducing this, making sure our women don't get cervical cancer. The good news here is that once it's detected or diagnosed early enough, one can be treated and you are good to go. I have here someone from Koli. We want to talk about cervical cancer. I want to talk about the risk factors, how this can be treated when you get it, how early when you come in, what involves, how you can be able to be good to go, and then some of the screening centers available, what is happening now, so we can reduce the number of death-related cervical cancer cases. But I'll take a break. When we come back, continue our discussion. I'll be back.
Hey, stop! You little man, just see him go. This baby can run all day long. I wonder what I would do if there were two of him. I am very happy I decided to wait before having another child. Luckily, I met a family planning advisor at a salon who gave me great advice. I also claim the Advantage Secure gifts. Now I can space the birth of my children as I want. With Secure, I decide.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Yes, you welcome back. Listen to a Cradle-to-Crayon show so made possible probably by Secure Pills. Now, Secure is a daily oral contraceptive pill for women who want to effectively prevent unintended and unwanted pregnancy. It contains ferrous fumarate or iron tablets that prevents iron deficiency, anemia in women. It's highly effective when taken as directed by your family planning experts and gives women the choice to get pregnant when ready. With Secure, you decide. My guest this morning, she's no stranger to the show. She's been here, I think 2 years ago. She's Frederick Crunch. She's a senior midwife officer with Family Planning Reproductive Units, Kolebu. Frederica, good morning. It's Frederica, I know. Frederica, forgive me. Frederica, good morning.
Good morning, Abigail.
It's good to have you here.
Yes.
Yes, it's been 2 years.
Yes.
You only come on for cervical cancer.
Yeah, and I think I was here last year too.
Last year,
Yes.
Okay. I've had a lot of guests here.
No.
Forgive me.
It's fine.
Frederica, cervical cancer. I know this word is common. Lots of people have heard it, but for someone hearing this for the first time, what is cervical cancer?
Okay. Even though we've been talking about this a lot, there are still people who don't know about it. We've been doing this campaign for so many years, and it's still surprising when people come to the hospital and you ask them and they tell you they have never heard about it. And funny enough, some people only hear about it, but they don't even listen when we are talking. That's the sad part. Cervical cancer is cancer of the cervix. Every woman has a cervix. Unless for any reason you have gone through a type of surgery where your uterus and the cervix has been taken out, every woman has a cervix. The cervix is always described as the part of the uterus that protrudes into the vagina. It feels a bit like the tip of the nose. It's round, some fleshy round parts. It's in the vagina. That is the cervix.
That's what you call the awano.
Awodiana.
Awodiano.
Yes, exactly. It's in the vagina. So when you put your hand inside, you feel it. That's the cervix. And that's where we get cancer, the cancer from. It usually starts from the cervix. If not seen early, it spreads beyond the cervix into the womb and can even come down to the lower parts of the vagina. And then the problem keeps spreading. Yeah.
Like I said, over the years, not just on Cradle-to-Crayon, there's a lot of awareness creation. You see it in the papers, on Facebook, medical centers they've put it up there. With this awareness creation, has it really impacted? What has the data been like? Have we had women reporting early enough? Have you have less women losing their lives now?
Yes. Since we started with the campaign a few years back, we've actually seen some amount of improvement. Not as much as we expect, but at least we are seeing something. We are actually seeing less death related in cervical cancers. But the incidents are still a lot because people still report late. You see, for some reason, people still wait to see the symptoms before they report. So then we are still getting a lot of the cases, but then we are now seeing them at an early stage than the latter stage. So the death has reduced by just a small margin. Yes, we are hoping that in the next few years it would get better.
What's known to cause this virus?
This cancer is caused by the HPV.
Sorry, this cancer.
Yes, it's caused by HPV. HPV is human papilloma virus. Just like HIV, this one too is sexually transmitted. Okay, so unfortunately, I say that this thing that is supposed to be enjoyable is always bringing a lot of problems to a lot of women. But that is it. It's a sexually transmitted. And when you get the virus, this virus stays with you for a very long time.
Long time? How long are we looking at?
Naturally, cancers take years to develop. So if you have anything that can make you get a cancer, or if a cancer cell has started at any point, it takes a really long time for it to develop and to spread. But when you get HPV, it can take like 10 to 20 years for you to actually see that you have a full-blown cancer.
10 to 20 years?
Yes, 10 to 20 years, unfortunately. And during that whole 10 to 20 year period,
what happens then?
You don't even know you have a virus. You don't know you have a problem because it doesn't give you any symptoms for you to know that there's something going on. You start to have some abnormal changes at the cervix. These abnormal changes are very little, very gradual. It progresses gradually. So it doesn't always show. So you don't even have any symptoms. You don't have any discharges or whatever.
There's nothing showing for like 20 years of your life.
Yes. I always say that HPV for some reason is not petty like that. It doesn't give you infections for you to think that I'm having recurrent infections, so I have HPV. No. It goes for the kill.
That's why it kills more than breast cancer does.
Exactly. Because by the time you realize that you have HPV or you have cancer, it's already too late. Unlike breast cancer where the changes that are going on, you would see something.
There's a change in your breast.
Yes,
it feels different.
You feel something, exactly. One is shrinking or one is getting bigger or there's a dimple somewhere, there's a color change. You will see it. But with the cervix, when those changes are going on and it's advancing, nothing shows.
Wow.
Nothing shows. You would still be living your life. You have all your children and everything, thinking you're fine. And then, boom, you start having symptoms and we tell you have cancer.
That's when it's now a cancer.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. You're saying it's sexually transmitted.
Yes.
It means it's your partner, your husband who brings,
Yes.
it's
So
likely.
It's not necessarily the man who is bringing it. It's sexually transmitted, so it goes both ways. Okay. So a man can give it to a woman. A woman can give it to another man. Give it to another woman, and we keep spreading it. Okay, it's sexually transmitted, so it goes both ways. The only unfortunate thing is women suffer more than the men.
So the men also end up getting, though they don't have a cervix.
Yes, the men also get HPV-related cancers.
Related cancers,
Yes,
okay.
so they get cancer of the penis. It's HPV-related. And for those who usually do the oral sex, you're also at risk of getting throat cancers. And for those who do the anal sex, This one for both sexes. Oral sex, anal sex, you can get throat cancer, you can get anal cancer. And then cancer of the penis for the men, and then cancer of the cervix for the women. Yeah.
So in all this 10, 20 years, there's no sign showing.
No.
Nothing's going to.
Nothing makes you know.
What would
that-
then bring you to the hospital?
So what brings you to the hospital is when the cancer has started and you now have symptoms of the cancer. So then that's the point where you start having bleeding during sex, very abnormal vaginal bleeding. You're not supposed to be having your menses, but you're bleeding. Or bleeding after menopause for our older women.
Yeah.
And then some people also have very severe pain during sex on deep penetration. They have very severe pain. And then also as it's advancing, you start having some abnormal.
Let me cut in there. So for those who are not sexually active, they are out of this.
So for those who are not sexually active, they can't exactly see this bit where there's the pain during the sex or the bleeding during the sex. But then eventually they would also start having the abnormal
they'll
bleeding.
get there.
They'll start having the abnormal bleeding. They'll start having the offensive vaginal discharge. Okay. So this vaginal discharge is so offensive, it smells like rotting fish or rotten egg. That's how bad it smells.
That's going to be all throughout the day?
Every time, the whole time we are still discharging, and it's so bad that if you're in the same room, in fact, the rest of us cannot stand. Even if you haven't removed your undies, we can still smell it on you. It's actually that bad. Okay, but that's when it's advanced. It starts at a point. So initially, you will start having offensive discharges. Some people would be doing all sorts of medications and herbals,
trying to treat it
because they think it is normal. I don't know if you're having that kind of discharge that you've never had before, or it's not something that you're used to having. Don't assume it's normal. If you're having irregular bleeding, it's not like you're taking any medication or you're doing it. You're just there before you realize you're bleeding. Every week or every 2 weeks you're bleeding. You can bleed heavy with clots and everything, and you think it's normal. It's not normal. You need to go to the hospital. You see, that's the thing. People tend to miss the signs. And before they realize, it's advanced. Because as soon as the cancer starts, within a few months, it's spreading.
It's giving you 20 years window period, and beyond then, it's going
as quickly
haywire.
as possible, you are full-blown cancer, where the cancer is spreading to other parts of the body as well. It's actually that bad.
It's that bad. I mean, so who gets this? Are there things that puts the woman at risk?
Yes. So, since it's basically sexually transmitted, if a woman starts having sex early, or she's had multiple sexual partners. Sometimes when we talk about multiple sexual partners, people tend to assume how many sexual partners you have currently. We are talking about your lifetime sexual partners.
Could be someone some 7 years ago.
Or even 12 years ago. Okay, let's say that this woman is married. For the past 10 years, she's just been with her husband. When you talk about multiple sexual partners, she tells you that I have just one. No. You are talking about those you were with even before you got married. Your lifetime sexual
But why is this
partners.
virus like that?
This question. I don't even know how to answer this question. That's why I said, for some reason, this virus is not petty like that. It doesn't just do little stuff. Unfortunately, if a woman also happens to be with a man who has had a lot of sexual partners, it sort of puts the woman also at risk.
Yeah.
Because if she's been with a man who's been all over, he could have picked all types of viruses from anywhere. Okay. And with the HPV, we have different types of the viruses. There are some that cause cancer, there are some that don't cause cancer. We have the group we call the high-risk virus, and we have different numbers, but each one has its own strength or its own ability to cause a cancer or not. And then we have the low-risk virus. So somebody can have a high-risk virus and a low-risk virus. Somebody can have two high-risk viruses. That person is so likely to get cancer and even die from it than the person who has a low-risk virus. Or who has just one. But even the one, it depends on the type that you have. Okay. And then also, if you have a low immunity, it actually affects you because it's a viral infection. Just like every viral infection, if your immune system is very strong, it means that you will be able to clear the virus from your system. So luckily, not everybody who gets HPV ends up getting the cancer. Because
That's good to hear.
Yes, some people are.
So what happens? Eventually, it goes away.
Eventually, it goes away.
It clears off your system.
Exactly. But if unfortunately you happen to be having sex with the same person who gave you that virus, your body will clear it. You will still be infected.
You still can recur.
Okay. And then when we have persistent infection with the virus, then it sort of puts you at risk at that point to get the cancer. Okay. So when you have a low immunity, it affects you. For some reason, the men actually have a very high immunity compared to the ladies. So most men are able to clear the virus within a few years, as compared to us ladies, where we keep the virus for a very long period of time.
It looks like it favors the men more than
something like that. So if a man is able to clear the virus within 2 or 3 years, imagine how many women he would have given the virus to within that 2 or 3 years. And if the ladies don't have a very high immune system to be able to fight off the virus, then it means they are going to have it for a much longer period. Okay. So for a woman to have had a virus at the cervix persistently for more than 5 years, the chances of her getting the abnormal changes in the cancer is high. So that 5-year period is what we call the persistent infection with the virus. And during that 5-year period, most of the men are able to clear the virus within their body at that time.
If at that point in time she's going to deliver, does it affect the baby in any way?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Not exactly. It depends on the type of virus she has and the symptoms that she's showing. Okay. So for a woman who has warts at the vulva or in the vagina, we don't even let her have a vaginal delivery, because then the baby is going to be exposed to the warts, which has the HPV in it. So then we don't even let her have a vaginal delivery. If for any reason, maybe we didn't see it early, or she just came when the baby was coming out, she actually puts the baby at risk of getting the HPV.
But then for some, we didn't even know she has it.
So we've actually had some kids as young as maybe 6 years, 7 years, who had HPV-related throat cancers.
Okay. Throat cancers?
Yes, because they got it through the mother during the delivery. Okay. So for those that we know, or those that, because for the low-risk virus, the warts show very early, so you can actually see it. And the changes are even escalated during pregnancy because of the hormones that we have. So you tend to see it early. But you see, some people will come to the hospital when the baby's head is in the vagina, not when they have now started feeling that they are having the pain.
Contractions.
They wait till the last minute. So they come and the baby is coming out. You can't do anything for them. Otherwise, we don't do delivery for people who have warts.
Well, it's 12 minutes to the top of that. I have here Frederica Crunchish with the Family Planning and Reproductive Health Center. She's a senior midwife officer. We're discussing cervical cancer. Our phone lines are open now. You can call the number, whatever it is. My guest is here. She would answer you. Whatever contribution or experience you want to share with us too, she's here to pick it. And then we are live on Facebook. Check out our Sunny 88.7 FM Facebook page. We are live there. You can drop your contribution, whatever it is. The WhatsApp line is 0540 130 684. 0540 130 684. Now the question here says, good morning. This is Daniel Asari. Daniel said he is doing the listening. He says, please, a congratulatory message to my wife, Mrs. Na Okainko Asari. She gave birth to a bouncy baby boy a week yesterday. We thank God. I want to say thank you to her. I'm grateful for the love and the sacrifices. Congratulations to you, Daniel, and then thank you to the wife too. Yes, our WhatsApp line is 0540 130 684. You can drop the question on our Facebook page, and also you calling my guest is here to answer you. Frederica, so I want to find out, after the 10-15 years and then you finally see all these signs, when you come in, what's next for you?
Okay, so depends on what we see, or depends on the kind of symptoms that you have, or the signs you present. That's going to tell what we're going to do for the treatment. We usually don't want our clients to wait to start having the symptoms. That's why we always talk about the screening. So with this whole cervical cancer campaign, all the noise that we are making, we are just saying, come and do the screening, come and do the screening, come and do the screening. Because with the screening, it's the only way by which we can actually see the changes early. These changes are what we describe as pre-cancer cells. So they are the changes that come before the cancer starts. So we want to be able to catch it at that stage before the cancer starts. So during that 10 to 15 year period is where the changes are going on. And that's the best period to actually catch it and then take care of it before it becomes the cancer. You understand? So it's always recommended that the ladies do the screening every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So that at any point in time when the changes starts, at any point in time when it becomes very obvious, we'll be able to take care of it and not wait for you to have symptoms. Because like I said, when you have symptoms, it means you already have the cancer.
Okay. Okay. So I have this question here. It says from Nana Hesse Ejiri, says, good morning. What are the early signs of the cervical cancer? Secondly, you talked about multiple partners. I want, I'm not getting the last bit. I want to know, are men carriers? Yes. So you're talking about multiple partners. He wants to know whether the men are the carriers.
Okay, so I think I mentioned that it's a two-way thing. Okay, a woman can give it to a man. So if a woman has sex with a man who is infected, she is infected now. If she goes to have sex with another man, she's going to give the virus to the other man, who would probably give it to another lady, who would also give it to another guy.
Yes, cycle.
Exactly. It's a cycle. So it's not like the men are the ones who have the HPV. They give it to you, the lady. You would also definitely give it to another man because that man got it from another lady. That's how come they are the carriers. But it's not like it's a thing it's with men. It's sexually transmitted.
Okay.
Yeah. And with the early signs, I think I mentioned the bleeding during sex, the pain during sex, abnormal bleeding, bleeding after menopause, very offensive vaginal discharge. As it's moving on, then there's the severe waist pain, lower back pain, urine retention, unexplained weight loss. There are
urine retention.
Yes, that's when it's spread up beyond the uterus, affected the bladder and all that.
Okay. This other question is saying, good morning, madam. Yes, good morning. Please, where can we do the screening? And can the men also do the screening? Thanks.
Okay, so with the screening, right now, there are a lot of hospitals that are doing the screening. We don't have too many of them, but there are a lot of the hospitals that are taking those initiatives. And we have a lot of the labs as well that are doing. Most of the hospitals have some sort of affiliation with the labs where they take the sample, then it goes to the lab. But at Kolebu, we do the screening at Kolebu.
Have you started?
Yes. The screening goes all year round.
Any time of the day you walk in, it can be done.
We do Monday to Friday, usually from 8 a.m. to like 12 p.m. is when we do the test. Every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., we run the test. The only thing is when we are doing our campaign, for a period, we reduce the cost to allow people to be able to do the test.
How much is it going for now?
As of now, it's 170.
Okay.
But when the discount starts, it goes down to 100 cedis.
Okay.
Yes.
That's when it starts going to go to 100.
It's going to go to 100 from the 170.
Okay.
And the person asked if we can do the screening
for men as well. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of in our part of the world, we don't have those advanced testing kits for the men. So we can't do the test for the men right now. We are still trying to work around that because it's very necessary. The men also need to. We are still working on that.
So they're still coming for the HPV virus to see whether they actually have it.
Yes. So we rather concentrate on their partners, the ladies.
Their partners.
So if the lady has, it means that the man also has.
Okay. So this other one is saying, my name is Normani Lai. Congratulations to Frederica for making time to explain cervical cancer to us. My question is, how will the men know we have this cancer with symptoms? How the symptoms show?
Okay. So just like how it is for a woman, when you have the virus, you don't have any symptoms till you actually have cancer.
Yeah.
So the men also have symptoms when they have the cancer. Okay.
But theirs is not cervical.
No, theirs is cancer of the penis.
Okay.
But they also show symptoms when the cancer is starting or when the cancer has started.
So they also have the 15, 20 years.
Exactly. So that's why I said persistent infection. But most men are able to clear it within that period. But if not, then they're also at risk of getting the cancer.
Okay.
So they can also have pain on the urination, blood in the urine, sores around the penis. Most of them will tend to have erectile dysfunctions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we don't have any other question. Frederica, I want to find out how we can prevent this.
Okay, so the prevention is just with the screening. Cervical cancer is such that when we see it early, we can prevent it. Luckily, even though it is the second most common cancer in women and happens to be the first cause of cancer death, it is also the only kind of cancer that is preventable. But that's if seen early. Okay? So we do the screening every 2 to 3 years, such that if we see the abnormal changes early, if we see the precancer cells early, we'll be able to treat it.
So at that point, it's not cancer yet.
At that point, it's
It's
not
not
yet
cancer
a
yet.
cancer.
So you don't see you have cervical cancer.
No.
Okay.
We have precancerous changes.
Okay.
Okay. So we're able to see it early, we're able to treat it, and then you don't get the cancer.
Okay.
So we're actually able to prevent you from getting the cancer if you do the screening and then we're able to see it early. We start with the treatment.
Okay. Let's talk about those who come in. I mean, after the 15 years, and all these signs are showing. How's the treatment like for them in terms of data? I mean, how is it like?
Okay, so cancer is in stages. Okay, we have 4 different stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Stage 1 we have A and B. Stage 2 we have A and B, like that. Okay, so it depends on which stage you present in. Sometimes the changes or the cancer has just started at the cervix. It's easier to treat. It's either we are taking off the parts where the abnormal cells are or the cancer cells are, or we are taking out the whole cervix. If it's spread,
It means no baby for you.
we are taking out the cervix.
The cervix.
Yes.
Okay, the cervix. Okay.
But if it has spread beyond the cervix into the womb, it means that we are taking the womb and the cervix.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but you see, we've had this instance where we've had to do that for a 24-year-old because she had a full-blown cancer at that time and it has spread to the womb.
24 years.
Yes. We took out the
So
whole...
it means it started when she was how old?
It started when she was very young. Okay? It started when she was very young.
Yeah.
And it also means that she had a very low immunity because it took a lesser time for her to get a full-blown cancer than it would for any other person. Okay, so for her, we had to take the whole uterus and the whole cervix out. But at least she's alive. Okay, but the fact is, depending on how early we had seen it, we could have actually prevented taking out her whole uterus.
Yeah.
So the treatment options, either we are taking out the cervix, we are taking out the whole uterus in the cervix, or we are doing chemotherapy, we are doing radiotherapy. Sometimes it's a combination. We do surgery and radiotherapy or surgery and chemotherapy.
Okay. Someone sent me a question earlier on about the screening. It's asking that are there things that would disqualify you from coming for the screening?
Okay, so for the screening, if a woman is bleeding, we don't do the test.
When you're in your menses.
When you're in your menses.
Okay.
When you're in your menses, when you're bleeding, we don't do the test. So we'd rather wait for the bleeding to stop because we don't want the blood cells to interfere with the cervical cells that we are picking. Otherwise, it will just be a lot of blood cells and very little of the cervical cells.
Okay.
We won't be able to find it. We won't get a result that we can really trust because we got very little cell samples. And then also, we advise that the woman should not have sex before the test.
Okay.
At least a day before the test, no sex. So that we don't end up picking a lot of sperm cells.
Okay.
Because that would also be a bit of... Because if you just had sex before the test, as soon as you position, we
You're
open
going
up.
to see.
We see a lot of it at the cervix in the vagina. And
okay.
It can be quite uncomfortable.
Okay.
But yes, we need the cells at the cervix.
Okay, so these are the two things that, in absence of that, you can walk
In the absence of that, yes, anytime, Monday to Friday, it's 12.
Okay, Frederica, thank you so much. It's 10 o'clock already.
Okay.
We need to get out of here. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you to all those who sent messages, those who listen. My name is Abby. Thank you to our sponsor, Secure Pills. Have a good working day and stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Sunny 88.7 FM.